Beingness is listening. Awareness is just, it's straight, like pure listening with no opinions, with no ideas. Not listening with the ears, but listening with the beingness and listening to everything that's going on. There's a really good great Zen master. I forget his name, but there's a book by Shifu, a teacher in Taiwan. Be open to everything and attached to nothing. Be open to everything and attached to nothing. That's that place of direct listening, wide open, listening sounds that the ears seem to pick up, but also listening to the mind, listening to sensation, listening to sight, without grabbing on to any of those. Then it becomes quite clear what we're listening to, yeah, and then what we are as the listening, not the listener. The listener comes in when there's the head, yeah, the ears. That's the listener, but that's also not us. That's the mind. You see, so you listen to sound. Sound comes in the ears. The head then makes up a story about that sound based on past experience, and then comes thought and discrimination of the sound itself. Yeah, this listening then listens to that process. Doesn't try to stop that process, because if we try to stop that process will double down. It's in, yeah, when you push against the head, when you push against the self, it seems that the self comes back twofold. Yeah? Because it's by pushing, trying to push it away, that we're reifying that there's a self there to push away a movement. So any action, any effort to find beingness reifies what you're not, reifies the self. It makes the sense of separation stronger. Yes, because then we're taking the head, and again we're playing God by trying not to play God. So there's almost nowhere to like turn to. That's why I think the listening is really valuable, because the listening gives us that openness without attaching, without pushing away or without drawing towards. Yeah. It's like that wu wei thing in I think Taoism. So this level of listening is really quite subtle, because it's before the mind. It's well before the senses, before the mind, before even like the seed of thought. And when we sit into that listening, which is that beingness, I think, then you can really understand and you can see how the self operates. Because there is no self in that listening. And in that listening, that beingness, everything is included. There's nothing that there's nothing there to present a to in otherness. But then quite quickly the head will come in and try to claim it. It'll tell a story about that experience of observation or of listening or beingness. It'll grab it, and then it'll because it's an experience, it'll grab it, it'll try to define it, and then it'll tie me to it. And that's where the listening is really valuable, because then you see that happen from stillness. You see that movement. Yeah, you don't have to go anywhere to find peace. It's right there. And it's been right there as you the whole time. You've been free the whole time. It's just we get entangled with what we're listening to rather than resting into the listening. And when we get entangled with what we're listening to, that says that I am something, that I am something, I am some doer, I am some experiencer. And then I'm drawn right into that dualism. I'm drawn right into judgment, right into everything that comes with the head, which for some of us becomes, quite unbearable, really. And then I want out. I want out of the suffering. I want out of the unhappiness, but as the head, because the head's got me tied in. The thoughts have me tied into that I'm the thinker. The sight has me tied into that I'm the seer. The hearing has me tied into that I'm the hearer. The doing has me tied into the idea, not the fact, the idea that I'm the doer. When really it's resting into the listening of all of that. That's the beingness. The rest is action, which comes out of that beingness, resolves back into that beingness. So by resting in that listening, in the beingness, we're not pushing anything away. We're not pulling anything in. We're letting things be as they are. Yeah. We're not making anything into a thing. Nothing inherently becomes a thing. And then we just inquire into who is it that's thinking? Who is it that's feeling? Who am I, as Ramana Maharshi would say? Who am I? And then that awareness, whatever name you want to give it, is right there. You are right there, listening to everything. And it's that returning. Actually, it's not even a returning because you've never left. You've always been that. But for the use of language, it's that returning back to that beingness. This unmatched. The perspective changes. The glasses that you're viewing the world from are different. You're no longer viewing from through the glasses of the head, through the J. You've taken those off. So things go from like a little square on the Zoom to the whole Zoom screen. The self-centeredness unhooks, it expands. Uh, and then seemingly things that used to really, really pull you down, they don't have the same effect because you can take refuge in that place. Yeah. Hinduism, Brahman, Brahma, 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 Krishna, Buddha. Give it whatever name you want. You are that thing. Now, not I'm going to become that thing. You are that now. Yeah. You are that now. And then as that, it's you can approach the body and the mind from a true position. From a true position. You can forgive people you thought you could never forgive. Because you're not doing it. That's the thing. In my experience, I'm out of the way. And because I'm out of the way, the things that I carried as very, very heavy I can put that bag down. And from beingness, I can look at that bag, seeing it for what it truly is. Hallelujah. Relief.